긴 경기장 도시양.
All right, guys, here we go on GSL Daybreak. At the top right part of the map, in the blue from the team NSHoSeo, is Sculp. I wonder what that means. I don't even know.
No, I don't know.
And down the bottom left, in the red, is StarTale's next player. He is a fearsome Code S Zerg. He is known as Curious.
Yeah, I would have figured maybe it was short for Sculpture or something like that.
Maybe,
and he just
know.
didn't have enough characters, but no, he doesn't even have his clan tag. It's just Sculp.
I have no idea. Curious, as well as being a Code S player, is also a Code A winner for owning FXO Oz in his Code A finals.
Yes, very, very good point, as a matter of fact.
Yep.
So, clearly Sculp is just Plux backwards.
That's right. Oh, of course.
Yes.
It's
obvious.
It all makes sense now. I can see.
All right, map is Daybreak. Of course, I gush about this map enough, so I will refrain this game around. Suffice
well,
to
I
say.
won't. Daybreak is an awesome map. You can
is
take
an
your
awesome
natural
map.
really easily. Your third is quite accessible as well. The running paths are really cool. It's a bigger map, so you can play a macro game. The Zelnaga Towers don't cover too much space. It's just an all-around awesome map. I love Daybreak.
Yep, that is definitely true. That was the walk distance from natural to natural there, so lends itself to nice long macro games. And speaking of macro games, see if we get a barracks here. Yeah, okay. Just building that on 13, as a matter of fact. 13 barracks coming out for Sculp now. His opponent, Curious, on the other hand, looks like he's going to go after a fast hatch. We're just waiting for that drone to make its way out, and there it goes.
Yep, 15 hatch. Curious does like to do the very basic standard solid Zerg hatch first opening. It's against Terran. I actually just watched him play against Bomber in the GSL. I was just catching up on some VODs. And yeah, he just really at this point likes to play pretty solid and standard, but he is also one of those Zerg players that likes to react to what his opponent does. I mean, everyone's like, yeah, Zerg's a reactionary race. I know. But you have players like Lenok that if they're playing ZVT, they're always going to, nearly always going to get that macro hatch before their third. They're going to play really heavy 2-base. Whereas someone like StarTale Curious will kind of look at the situation and say, yeah, I think I can take my third before I really do a lot of teching, or I'm under a lot of pressure. I need to make sure that I'm safe before I take a third.
Sure.
So you really see a lot of variety out of Curious, which is kind of cool to see.
And in this game in particular, it's going to be a very fast speedling build. He did throw it down hatch first, of course, but gas before pool. So we'll have that 100 gas just as that pool pops out.
Yep, that's right. Certainly will, and you know, we'll be seeing him add on those queens a little bit later on. If you get your gas before the pool, you can't really do 2 queens at once like you do if you go pool before gas when you hatch first, which is, I don't know, for me it's like a personal preference thing. I like to get both queens at the same time. I guess he did actually save up enough. Will he use it for 2 queens, or will he go right into speed? I think he will just go ahead and get speed. We'll see. I'm looking at the production queue, and there's 100 gas. Oh, no, he did just get 2 queens. Okay.
Double queen and a couple of Zerglings right after that.
Oh, yeah, and then you can get speed immediately afterwards. Okay, so that's good. Forget everything I just said. This works just fine, too. Reactored Hellion coming out for Sculp.
And he's going to expand to the low ground, Thorzane-esque, and not afraid of doing that, though, because he will have early game map control on the back of these couple of Hellions that make their way out. This was just kind of a weird timing to get to this as well. He put down the factory quite a bit later than other players would on the Reactored Hellion expand. It was like 2 supply later, something like that. It actually ends up timing perfectly then with the reactor. Did he get out any extra Marines as a result? No, not really. So just kind of a clever, different, interesting way to get about it.
Well, I think it's because he went 13 barracks. He was only able to time 1 Marine before he got that that reactor. Normally, if you go 12 barracks, you can get 2 Marines out before you throw down the reactor.
And he is throwing down a pretty quick tech lab as well. Some players will do the reactored Hellions just to throw out 2 Hellions or something like that. Yeah, well, no, okay, he is going to go into more Hellions after that. I thought he was going to switch right away there.
Normally you make, it's usually 4 is kind of the minimum you go with that. And then if you want to switch over, you can do that. Well, like otherwise, some people just like to make 6 to 8 Hellions, put a lot of pressure on there. But
yeah, I've seen a couple of players though that just like using the threat of Hellions. That's all they want. So they'll have a couple that take map control, but it's just purely the threat of Hellions being on the ground. And let's see here, a couple of Zerglings sitting out there, and they are all going to get roasted. Nice little win for the Hellions that are sitting on the ground. Of course, 4 of them are now revealed. This tech lab hasn't been used for a lot quite yet, and he is building in, like I said before, that supply depot bunker wall, which is oh so important on this map to defend against Ling run-bys.
Oh yeah, I mean that is one of the kind of risks you have to deal with when you expand, especially if you go on the low ground first like Sculpt did, is you need to be ready for things like Ling run-bys and all that. A little bit of pressure coming in from these Hellions, but Curious is well prepared. He's got the Spine, he's got the Evo Chamber, he's got the Queens right there. So yeah, he's not going to take any damage at all from the Hellions. And yeah,
there you go.
Same thing for Sculp.
Yep, defending against that Ling run by there. Very nice.
Isn't that nice?
It is.
It's so delightful.
Curious how nice it is.
Oh, you.
Anyway, ugh, that's terrible. He did.
No, that's okay.
Sculp did.
This is what we do.
That's true. Sculp did a nice thing, though. He did kill one active creep tumor, and it forced a restart there by Curious, and he wasn't confident enough to throw the Queen out to the front, so he had to start it inside his base, and has forgotten about moving that right now. So that's a good little win for Sculp. Oh, wow, good positioning with those Hellions as well, backing himself into a corner to get the best possible engagement against those Zerglings. Yeah,
it's pretty important to keep those early Hellions alive if you can, just because you get, you know, that map control, and if you lose those Hellions, suddenly you're completely in the dark. You have no idea what they're doing, that you have to start using scans. It's just a bad feeling as a Terran player when you lose those early Hellions.
And boom, it's a trap. Line them up. All right, so the last couple of Zerglings go down, and this is bit Leenock-esque now out of Curious, as he is going to go after Quad Gas Quick Layer off of just 2 base with a macro hatch inside of his main.
He's definitely going to be playing a little bit safer. Wouldn't be surprised at all to see him go right up to Spire before he takes a third. We'll see. He might still decide to throw down a third. He's got the money for it right now.
Right.
But adding on a Baneling Nest and upgrades right now, man, he's losing a lot of Zerglings,
yes,
though.
He is. He's lost 26 units to just 1 worker killed at the moment. Yes, he's not had any economic damage done to him, but he has just not killed anything in return. That is actually the first non-worker unit he's killed in this game. Wow.
Yeah.
Good control from Sculp.
Yeah, definitely. Sculp is a scary Terran. I mean, we've seen him get wins in Team League situations before. You know, like I mentioned, he's just a really solid all-around player.
All right, Dunia is moving up his infrastructure. He decided to actually create a starport and start double producing Vikings right away.
Interesting.
Spire's actually coming out now for Curious, like you mentioned, just as you said, before third base comes out. But look at this. Baneling speed and +1 melee on the way for Curious. And finally, Barracks 2 and 3 now added for Sculp. He's been playing with a really minimal defense and a heavy investment into extra bases and technology.
Yeah, I've got to imagine we're going to see him make medevacs after those first 2 Vikings. It's interesting that he made 2 of them. I suppose it does let you clear out the Overlords a little bit quicker. If you look at the mini-map, not really any Overlords out there on the map right now. Curious kind of keeping those all safe. Yeah, and there's a Spire going down for him as well before he takes his third. He's going to play really safe this game, even getting like Baneling speed. There's that they're going down. Yeah, so he's going to be just fine. This is a very Leenock-esque way to go into Mutiling play. So, you know, from here, what he needs to do is just make sure he creates enough Lings and Banelings to kind of survive early pushes.
Right.
And then just try to harass with Mutilisks to keep Sculp from being able to take an easy third.
Oh, and that's a good win right there. Queen goes down. Now these Lings are on creep, so they are eventually going to catch up, surround, and kill these Hellions, but they'll take a few more Lings with them as well. The Vikings are flying around at the moment and picking off a couple of Overlords, actually, despite the fact that they were inside their opponent's base. Still, a lot of Lings were roasted there, so Sculp, even when he doesn't get the best possible engagement, still finds a way to kill Queens and a ton of Zerglings.
Yeah, he's shown some pretty good control. This is the point in the game, though, where Zerg is going to start taking map control back again, especially now that those Mutilisks are out. And we'll have to see how Sculp decides to kind of hold his third base. This is kind of always the tipping point in a lot of TVZs. You know, will the Zerg be able to harass well enough to hinder that third that Terran has and force him onto kind of this long-term 2-base play, which is never good for a Terran to be in? You know, or is Sculp going to defend well, take his third base, and kind of make the Zerg be like, all right, what now? You know, do I try some sort of big aggressive move, or do I just do I try to expand? I mean,
I love this out of Sculp, though. He's taking the pocket expansion and establishing dominance over the middle of the map. This is such a cool move. Now, usually you'd see the third taken here, as the Mutas did try to get in there, want to point out, but they ran into some missile turrets.
Stupid Mutas.
Yeah, Sculp, though, taking this base, usually you would see this third taken, but it's more exposed to a Zerg player, but he establishes dominance over the middle of the map, not putting a planetary fortress here. His economy is so good right now.
Yeah, not bad at all. Sculp keeping up on workers with Curious, but, you know, Curious has been producing a little bit less. He's playing that really super safe style. And I think we're going to see Curious actually get a little bit aggressive here. I don't know. I've got a feeling that he's not going to go for a fourth right away. I think he's just going to go for trying to kill that third. In fact, there he is. He is going for it, coming in right away. Oh, is the spread going to be good enough, though? Oh, my gosh.
Perfect shots with the Siege Tanks there on the Banelings, taking out huge swaths. So the Banelings have largely been mitigated. And look at that.
Kidding.
Even though Curious takes out the whole siege tank line, he has to run away because he didn't take out any of the Marines. Such good control there from Sculp. Sculp is just, he is flabbergasting me with how good he's playing right now. This is reminiscent of his teammate Jokchi, just because of how clean and beautiful this control and macro has been.
It's true. Jokchi, I would say, is the best TVZer in the world right now. I think a lot of people would agree, but Curious made a huge mistake not splitting those Banelings. Is he going to make the same one? There's not really any tanks here to defend. Only one tank. Look at the focus fire on the Banelings, though, but is it going to be enough?
Oh, I don't know. Curious rolling his way through. There's still quite a few Marines left. There's the split I was looking for. The Banelings do eventually take out all those units. Supply is 91 to 96 at the moment. Lings are starting to flood in here to the third. What does Sculp have to defend? Looks like a bunker, a well-placed bunker, actually, allowing him to kill a ton of units all at the same time. The Mutals will finally overwhelm these Marine numbers that are up at the front, but my God, he's just fighting back so resiliently.
Wow.
Gets the reinforcements in there as well, and the Mutalists are going to go down.
Man, a lot of Mutalisks did die to that. It's amazing the power of Medivacs right there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, so Curious doing a little bit of damage, but really not splitting his Banelings at all, and that's made it very difficult. Ooh, I don't know if that was like a bad rally or something.
Ooh, yeah, that's no good.
Yeah, he shouldn't be sending in his Zerglings there. He needs to be a lot better about splitting his Banelings, too. He's lost a lot for no reason. It looks like he's going to be able to take out these Marines.
Right,
That'll be nice. I mean, this is still a huge threat for Sculp to deal with.
Boom! But the Banelings clump up one more time, and the siege tank Sculp on top of his game picks them off so well.
Yeah, I mean, Curious, though, he's just not trading efficiently enough with Sculp at the moment. He still could take the game, but those are some really poorly executed attacks by StarTale Curious.
Yeah, and I mean, he has poorly timed attacks, not trading cost effectively against an opponent who has incredible control right now.
Well, I would say the timing was actually okay, but just bad engaging. I mean, just not splitting the Banelings.
Sure.
You see so many Zergs fall into that trap. Lucira is another Zerg that I think is a great example of a player who doesn't really do a terribly good job splitting his Banelings. July is another example of that, where they just kind of attack, move in, and then just take their hands off the keyboard and kind of cross their fingers. You can't be doing that against a good, solid Terran like Sculp.
That's what I was looking for, was a big drop to move out now as the drone makes its way over to the fourth. And look at that, planetary fortress established. Those Lings are going nowhere and going nowhere fast. Sculp is up now by about 30 supply, and he is going to make a big drop here. Looks like spending one unit to go ahead and take out the drone, preventing that fourth for a long period of time. A few more Marines are going to drop down. They will get cleared up, but Sculp is buying himself time to move through the front, clean up creep tumors, and fully establish that fourth.
Yep. That is right. I think Sculp is pretty much in the lead by a big margin in this game right now. I mean, the thing about TVZ is that it's just not over till it's over. You can kind of see a game going in a certain direction, but things like that kind of make you think that Zerg's having a bit of a hard time.
Yep, definitely.
I like the sensor tower, too, I got to say. I'm glad that more Terrans are starting to incorporate that in pretty much all matchups.
This decision to go for the third in the middle, though, I think has paid off so well because it closed off so many attack routes and just gave a very favorable position for Sculp to defend against that
oh boy,
huge amount of attacks that came out of Curious. Here come the Banelings once again, not sieged up, but it doesn't matter. The Banelings are destroyed in time. Only one siege tank has gone down, and that is a ton of Marines.
Yeah, that's right. They're all, they've all taken a little bit of damage from stimming, but you really can see just the power of target firing Banelings with those siege tanks.
Right.
The Banelings, every single time Curious has come in, have been basically nullified, and I don't know. I think this is, nice Baneling hits there, though.
Yeah.
It's going to be really tough for Curious to get back in this game, though.
Yes, it is. As a matter of fact, especially with Sculp now producing off of 4 bases, and he is just in massive macro mode at the moment, keeping his minerals so low the entire time as well. So Curious going to go right around the outside. Looks like he did run a few Lings into the third as well, but there were already units sitting there waiting for that.
Nice positioning. Really good. That was a little bit better, catching Sculp off guard.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to kill that army at least, but there's so many Marines still doing damage right now.
Yeah, they're just all running through the front. But the Banelings do manage to clean up the rest.
Yeah.
The Mutalists are now allowed to run free, but look how many units are just popping out of Sculp. He's able to send these little, task forces around the map.
SWAT teams.
Yes.
Squads. SWAT squads.
Spec Ops groups. Here comes
Ghost Recon.
Sculp now, making his way right
That's a little bit
the
later in
front.
TVZ, actually.
That is true.
Not part of it.
Yes. If it was Thor's we'd already see 50 ghosts.
It's possible.
All right, Banelings are just not being given time to morph. Drones are pulled off the line now.
GG.
Curious knows it. GG's. And Sculp, a brand new Code A player, has actually defeated Curious, a top 16 Code S player.